What's up everyone, Bacon here, and today's video is going to look a little different than normal. Today I kind of want to just rant to you about the Stargazing room and how I think it's just overall worse than in Classic and why that is and how I think it can be improved. And so for those of you who haven't kind of messed around with Stargazing very much, obviously the main way of polling is using the Stargazing cards, but they changed it from the classic game where you used to be able to use diamonds to summon, just like in the normal tavern, you can use diamonds to summon units here. In the Stargazing, you could use diamonds to summon here. And it's really problematic for a few reasons. The first being these cards are impossible to find in the game. You basically can get them from, oops, that's not what I wanted. From the store here, the arena store. And you can get 10 of them for 75,000 coins, which means you're basically with going or not doing these other resources, which are all very valuable resources. And so you have to kind of pick and choose in that regard. Or you get them from like different progressions. The towers give you some, but they're very limited. Like you're not going to get a lot from these areas. And so that leaves you with the resource they want you to do, which is spending money. And now you can buy them with diamonds if you pay for the $15 a month deluxe money card. And then that only gives you 2. And then you have to spend $5 more. And then you can buy 2 packs. So 2 of 4. $10. And so on and so forth. And so it's just like this very intentional, annoying like gatekeeping of being able to get these cards. And I just think it's super crummy because they got rid of the time emblem kind of situation from the previous game, which was how you would summon for awakened units. And so instead of doing what you do here with Solace and Taline, where you need 5 ascended units of Wilders and 5 of Celestials to unlock them, you basically got these cards that you could buy from the shop for like 300 diamonds for 1. And you would use them to summon for awakened units like these. And they were similar to Stargazing, really like rare drops, so like 2 or 3%, something like that. So you didn't get them very often. And you could basically buy the cards, get them through the shop, or an occasional event, and that was it. And people were annoyed with it because they just would keep releasing awakened units, and you just would fall behind and behind with getting these units. And so we see a similar pattern here at the current Stargazing store, where you have all of these Celestial and Hypogene units that you can only get with these cards, but the only way to really get them is to spend money. And I get that the game is like surrounded by spending money. That's how they make money. That's the purpose of the game. But at the same time, for people who even spend a little bit of money, but not like whale out, like it's just a miserable experience because you basically have to decide, okay, do I want to spend my money on a chance of getting some of these units? Or do I want to spend money on like general progression of other areas? And so it's just not like a very like friendly system for free-to-play players or like low spenders. And honestly, the part that kind of sucks the most is that most of these units are kind of garbage. Like Athalia is good if you completely max her out, but you gotta spend a lot of money for that. You can get them from the store, so not a big deal. Taline is probably the best Celestial available. And then these 3, kind of mid. Like, 1 copy, pretty good. Flora has its uses. Wukong's kind of eh. And then you look at Hypogenes, and like 3 or 4 of these, just like, 1, you're never going to use because you don't want to spend your cards on these. But 2, they're just kind of not great units in general. And so the problem with this is they have these units that are already kind of gatekept by this card system. And then when they eventually release, which I'm assuming they will, a tower specifically for Celestials and Hypogenes, I don't know if they will, but I'm assuming eventually that will be something where they have a tower for those 2. Nobody's going to have these units, or no one's going to be able to have high-level units of them because of this. And maybe it's something where they're going to kind of put a wall up at first, then slowly make it a little easier, which is still kind of stupid. But I mean, if you look at my Taline, I have Taylene at legendary, so yellow, and I've basically only summoned for her using these cards. And that means I would probably get her to Ascended 1-star in like a year and a half, which is absurd. Like, that's crazy. Especially when you factor in the fact that there is Awakened Hero who you need 5 Celestials for to be Ascended to even get. And by the time you even get Awakened Taylene, it's going to be like 5 years if nothing changes. And she's probably not going to be good anymore or useful. Or people just won't be playing at that point. And so it's clearly like a system that's put in place for whales, which is really frustrating and really annoying. I think this just needs to be reworked. You need to be able to use diamonds for those who want to try to get some of these units higher. Or at least like increase the rates from 2% to like 6% or something that makes it a little more worth it. Because honestly, like, Stargazing just kind of sucks. Like, you use them, you never get anything, and then it's done. And the last thing I want to just kind of rant about is the fact that the Destiny summons, which, to say, like, I love the Destiny summon option for dimensionals. I think this is great. I love being able to save up these scrolls, which you get a decent amount if you just save them up and don't spend them. You get a decent amount, and you can use diamonds, which is a plus. And you can save them, wait till there's someone that you want to use them on, whether it's like another dimensional unit or a unit that's coming out that you really like or think would be really good. And so I like that. That's how a lot of gacha games are, where you kind of stockpile your resources until there's a summoning event or something like that, and you can kind of pile them all at once. I don't mind that. I think it's fun and exciting to see what you get. And it can be disappointing, obviously, if you don't get as many hits as possible, or as like the average would be. But overall, like, I like this. And I also like having like this dope gear in here. Like, this gear is great. My Shawl tier is like maxed out gear now, besides like moving it one step higher to tier 1. But it's really good. And so I like this. But once this is done, this is going to be going into here, which means not only do you have to worry about Celestials, Hypogenes, you also have these guys. And so, like, if you really want to spend your cards on these, like, that just feels even worse. Especially since dimensionals are so new, they're exciting, and you don't want to use your Stargazing cards on them. And honestly, I'm not really sure what I'm expecting to get out of this. I don't think Lilith is going to make any changes or anything. But I guess the only thing I would say is don't waste your money on these if you are spending. Like, the units aren't anything to write home about. Like, if you're a whale and that's all you want to spend your money on, like, sure, go for it. But, like, if you are spending your money on just a few things every month, I wouldn't prioritize these units, because there's so many new units that are constantly being released. Like Gwyneth, like Warwick, wherever he is in here, once he comes in. And just, like, new units every 2 or 3 weeks. And a lot of them are better than the Celestial and Hypogenes in here. And there's no Hypogene or Celestial towers, so there's not really an urge to do that. And there's not a lot of them that are really worth it. And the ones that you might want to build out, you can get for free from the Arena store. And so I would say just don't spend your money on it. Maybe it'll send a message to Lilith. Who knows? But I think if you are someone who is collecting your cards, I would either wait until there's actually a unit worth pulling for, or just kind of committing to one and kind of going with it. I've committed to Taylene at this point. I like Taylene. I think she's actually really good compared to some of the other units in the Celestial faction. And just having, someone who can add to the faction bonus is super nice too. I think she's really great and just helpful in Forked Fate too. But overall, like, I just don't think a lot of these units are worth the, the actual cost of money to try to get them if you buy these or using your cards for. So that's the end of my rant. I don't know if you guys like this type of video style, but I just wanted to kind of throw this into ether and just let everyone kind of fester on that and think about it. I'm curious what you guys think about it. If you feel a similar way, if you played the old games, now you're playing this one. If you feel like it's kind of a ripoff. Like I said before, obviously I know Lilith needs to make their money. They're wanting to make money and put systems in place to make money. But I think there are better ways to do that besides this. So if you guys like this video, make sure you like, subscribe below. If you have any thing to add to this conversation, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below. But as always, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.